reasons why you should not worry about the next catastrophic event. Welcome to the show, everyone. I'd like to expand upon my initial opening statement of why you should not be worried about the next catastrophic event. I find if you ask most people, what they're preparing for, it's a pretty common question, you'll probably get about 10 answers, and I think about 90% of people will fall into those 10 answers in some way or variation or another. We're looking at an economic event, a global weather event, terrorism, government breakdown, civil war, or even a nuclear event. Now, if you take all of those events, those are your trigger events. You have your trigger event, and then say, God forbid, it happens. And then you transition into the plan that you've set forth for yourself, your family, as to how you're going to deal with that event. Let's just say your event is an economic collapse. Okay? Take what you're going to do in that economic collapse. Write it down. Make out your list of your basic plan of attack. Now, write up another list for what you would do for, say, a terrorism event. And you don't have to get into too detailed of a list there. Just list 7 or 8 major things that you're going to do for both events. Now, take those two lists and, roughly compare them. And you should probably see quite a few similarities in your two lists. If I was to put together those two lists myself, I'm pretty sure that on those lists, I would have shelter, as being number one. Shelter, a base of operations, a place to go, a place to be. Then I would look at my stocks, my food supply, my water supply. Do I have them? Pretty sure you'd have both those items, on your list. And this would work for a short term or long term. Of course, you're going to have some minor differences, and your depth of how far you go into them could vary. But in the end, it's still shelter. Adding on to that list, your information, communications, what's going on around you. Are you too close to the event? Do you need to be further away? Are you safe where you're at? If you don't know, then you don't know. That being said, you need information so that you can constantly adjust your current situation. Now, also on that list, you're going to have your forms of protection. And what I mean by protection can be partially covered, under your shelter, but also that can be, as basic as, do you have the appropriate clothing for the area that you live in, or even the event that might be happening? Do you have protection from both natural elements or man-made elements, or even man itself? And that list alone can be broken down into many, many different areas there that are far too complex to get into in this segment here, but it is definitely something that you will have to look at. So in closing, again, guys, I would pay much more attention to the after effects of a trigger event than the actual event itself. Because like I said, in many cases, how you deal with the incident after is going to run pretty parallel to many other events that you would have to deal with. We'd like to thank you for stopping by today, and we'll close this episode out. Till next time, be safe.